Happy Saturday, happy Saturday, happy Saturday. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that, and a lot of times things happen to help me, Forrest, grow and become a better leader. So one of the things that I do know, I want to share this. I'm going to share this with you, and you may be at the same point that I was. And sometimes we just grow as people. You think about stuff, you look at stuff, and you go, "Oh, really?" So they say when you have one finger pointing out, you always have three pointing back at you. So I'm going to talk about leadership, why it's important to hold your leaders accountable, but I'm going to put some check on that, right? I'm going to put a little bit of reality check into accountable leadership from a different perspective. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Forrest Knight. I'm a social media marketing strategist. I love helping people succeed online. I am a coach, and as a coach, I grow too. I'm on a mission to have no more empty refrigerators, make an extreme impact, and be a legacy creator. And hopefully, this brings some value to you over the weekend and just in the future. So, I'm going to share a short little story with you. I recently, my 10th anniversary is coming up this coming Friday to celebrate with my wife. And a couple of weeks ago, I put in a vacation request to take the day off. I actually took another day off in this upcoming day. And of course, my supervisor, manager, general manager approved it. And then I caught some grief about taking a day off and without enough notice. And so I asked about this notice and said, okay, how much time is required? Because typically most of the people, and I've, been there for 4 years, most of the people just put in a day off and you get it approved. And I don't take a lot of time off. That's my deal is I'm usually, there's been people there a year that have taken more time off than I've taken in the last 4 years. So not saying anything to that, but it's being able to hold people accountable. So what I asked was how much time how much time notice do I need? And I was told, 30 days notice to take time off. Now, of course, that unless it's an emergency, I would assume that's not the case, but because you don't know when an emergency is going to happen. So I was thinking about this morning is when I asked for time off and my leader, the general manager, knows that there's a 30-day requirement, his responsibility should have been, hey, you need to give 30 days notice. Sorry, I can't approve this. Now, I would have been completely okay with that. I would have been like, okay, and I would have made some adjustments and plans. However, on the flip side of that is for the leader, the general manager, not to step up and say, hey, you know, afterwards to say, you know what, I did approve him to take the time off. I should have said something up front. I should have been, more of a leader and just said no, or you got to give a bigger notice or whatever. So there's that side. That's his responsibility to, be a leader and step up. However, here's the ouch part that hurts, right? Here's the ouch part that hurts is when I ask the question is how much time do I need to give notice? It was 30 days. It's probably in the handbook somewhere. And at the same time, I was going to have some issues with that. So I made a decision since I didn't give 30 days notice to take my anniversary day off this coming Friday. I'm going to go ahead and go to work because to be in compliance, me being accountable for me knowing what the rules are. Now, how does that apply to network marketing? How does that apply to your business? How does that apply to being an independent business owner with your company? It's understanding that when you enroll and when you start your network marketing business and when you whatever business it is, whether it's a small business, a brick and mortar business, a corner store business, if you start a corner store business, it's your responsibility to understand what the city code is and be in compliance with that. It's not just the city's responsibility to come by and put a notice on your door every time that you're not in compliance. It's also your job to understand what the rules are. Now, they may come and notify you, go, oh, my bad, I'll get it right, and you correct it and you move on. So there's a two-way communication that goes in there. But it's also your responsibility as a small business owner to understand what the compliance is with the company that you enrolled with. It's not your upline's job to make sure that you're in compliance. It's your job to know what's in the handbook. Right now, you can always ask, right? You can always ask to go outside the guidelines of the handbook, right? And say, hey, I know the handbook says X. However, I was wondering if you would be okay with X, right? Then there's a communication going there of both parties being responsible for the decision. Now, if your supervisor, leader, or manager says, okay, yeah, go ahead, then they've got to step up and say, if their boss says something to them, like, why is this person off? Then they can say, well, da da da, I gave them permission, right? So it's an accountability of being responsible for where you're at. Even as an employee, it's your responsibility to understand what your job is. Like you don't show up late, right, for work. That just freaks me out. Like I cannot be late. When I'm late, I mean, I'm literally driving. If I think I'm going to be late, I go in a freaking panic mode. Like it just freaks me out. And then I'm like trying to send a text while I'm driving, which isn't safe, and I freak out. So I can't stand being late. That's like, you ask anybody that knows me, if I'm going to be late to somewhere, I get a little bit itchy, a little bit edgy about it. So that's my thing, right? And being accountable to me stepping up as a leader and being an example, not only just to the people around me, but also setting an example for my leader, for the general manager, to say, hey, this is how you operate. This is how you operate with integrity, right? If you say you're going to do something, then do it. If you give somebody permission to do something, then raise your hand and say, my bad, I should have stepped up and said this, right? So it's an accountability across all boards to say, yeah, I am the leader that should have stepped up and said something in the beginning. Also, as an employee or as an independent business owner, it's your responsibility to step up and say, you know what, I should have been in compliance. I should have had to understand that I can't post this on social media. I should have known that I'm not supposed to say this about that. And if you have a question about anything, then you ask the compliance police, you ask HR, you ask somebody that knows the answer, so that you're responsible and accountable. You can't just say, well, I'm just an employee, I'm just going to walk around like a robot and pretend I don't know anything. No, you signed a contract. When you sat down and signed all that paperwork, right, and all that stuff, you signed a contract to be in compliance with the handbook, right? When you sign an independent business owner's agreement as a network marketer, you agree to be in compliance with the rules. And if you have any questions, there's a lot, right? This doesn't mean you have to sit down and go through line item, but it's a real good idea before you post something, before you do something, that you reach. And it isn't about being a robot. It's about being in compliance so that you don't hurt the people around you, right? So that you can step up and be an accountable person, so that you can step up and live with integrity, right? It's about it's about having integrity with yourself and looking at it. And like I said, when you point one finger at someone else, there's three fingers pointing back at you. So how responsible are you for everything that goes on in your life? How responsible for you are you showing up as an employee, as a wife, as a husband, as a parent, as a child, right? There's a lot of older children that think that's like, oh, it's just, I'm the child, I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. You're just as responsible for following the rules and asking questions of your parents as it is the other way around, of being a parent and being a good leader and talking to your kids. So it's everywhere you go, it's about being accountable and having integrity with yourself. And when when in doubt, ask a question. When really in doubt, bail out, right? So I hope this has some value for you. If you found some value in what I shared, take a look at yourself. Take a look at, like, how am I showing up, right? How do I show up? It comes back to what Ray was talking about last week. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So I challenge you to take it to the next level, like Jenny Potter was saying on Rank Makers this morning in the Ray Daily, is level up. And it's not just moving from this mundane area, moving up to the next area, but it's leveling up in your accountability, leveling up as a leader, leveling up as a teammate, leveling up as an employee. I challenge you to do that over the rest of your life. So I love you. Jesus loves you. There's absolutely nothing to do about it. I'm on a mission to have no more empty refrigerators, make an extreme impact, and be a legacy creator. I hope you are too. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.